Steven! Besides wearing flip-flops, what's the most annoying thing someone can do at a gym?
Fart. Yeah. Haven't you ever had someone go down doing a squat and they just pinch a mean one?
Can't say I have. Like right in your face? No, can't say. I mean, I definitely have been that guy that has been on the treadmill early in the morning and, I've been eating something right the night before and look around to see if anybody else is around me. And if no one's directly behind me on the treadmill, I might squeeze one off.
Nah, so that's mine is more facetious, shall I say. If I'm being real with the gym, the one that gets me, I know they can't control it, and I know they're probably doing this because it helps them. I can't stand the loud grunters.
Yes.
If you need to grunt, you can grunt. Like, go ahead, but you don't need to scream.
I have made it a point of emphasis that if I'm going to grunt, it's just close to people in my vicinity. Like if I'm really struggling, like it's not going to be like where everybody knows where I'm like, oh yeah, oh fuck yeah. It's like you're not having sex at the gym. Like just, like normal, grunting while you're exercising. But
Correct.
if people that like sing or scream, like I'm having a ton of bad gym etiquette right now at the 24-hour fitness in Oakland.
Oof.
I have people that are blasting music while they work out. And I'm not talking about like, I'm not talking about like guys that are like weightlifters, like, blasting some hip hop or anything like that. No, I'm talking about like, 50-year-old women that are blasting like 80s music because she didn't bring her headphones or refuses to bring her headphones every day. That's annoying to me. Not to mention, I'm a stickler when it comes to people that don't re-rack the weights. I'm sorry. When you're done with them, put them back.
Yeah.
It's that easy. I've spent so much time wasted on doing my own scavenger hunt, trying to find the right weights around the gym. It's annoying. Can't stand it. Gym etiquette, people. What happened to us as a society?
That should be a given. You know what's funny? You jogged my memory up from today. KCBS, we did a story. I guess there's something about how Gen Z employees are being treated in the workplace and how they're not taking too kindly to when they're told that they have to wear deodorant or that they have to have proper etiquette, such as not leaving candy wrappers on the table. More Gen Z stuff, Derek.
Oh, I'm sorry. That offends people that they're not tidy?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't give a fuck if you are a person of a certain age, if you're Gen Zer. This is the way society works. You handle yourself when you're at work. Don't be lazy. Don't be like, oh, they want me to work, or I gotta clean up after myself. Yes, that's the way the world works. Yes. I'm sorry. Like yesterday, I'm at the gym. Another thing, and someone leaves a sign up. We'll be back in a little bit of time, and it was longer than an appropriate amount of time. It was probably like someone was not at the front desk for a good 45 minutes. Which, when you're in a gym, that means anybody could just walk in and work out there. And if that's your deal. You're losing money in that situation. But I always like to get a protein shake after I work out, and nobody was there. So I looked around, and after waiting like maybe a solid 5 minutes, I was like, can I just take this? Would anybody say anything? And I'm not going to be that guy that steals because I'm mad that no one's at the front desk. But I thought about it because like at some point, like when's a ridiculous amount of time not to be at your job? I would say 45 minutes. That's ridiculous. So I had to go to the local 7-Eleven to get like a, whatever they're called, like a smoothie, mother's milk or whatever the fuck they're called. Regardless, 45 minutes at the front desk of a gym, that's ridiculous. So I have no other options. I'm just going to keep bitching on this podcast because there's only so many gyms I could go to that are walking distance from my apartment. Yeah. It's convenient. But at the same time, it's quite the pain in the ass that no one re-racks their weights. People are blasting Cyndi Lauper while they're running the treadmill. And, it'd be nice if some people worked at the front desk. So that's my, you know what really grinds my gears lately? Gym etiquette. Get your shit together, people.
Does your is your protein shake, does that happen to be fight milk?
Fight milk?
Fight milk.
I am not familiar with fight milk.
Get blasted.
No, I have like what's it
You
called?
are
Like
familiar with fight milk, Derek. You're familiar with fight milk.
I probably am.
Be strong like a crow.
Was it?
You could be strong like a crow.
Crows are strong.
Fight milk. It's always sunny, dude.
Oh, oh yes. It's been a minute.
Yeah. We had
no, I usually
dicktowel.com.
Yeah, there you go. No, I usually do the there's like a lean body protein shake, no sugar in it. And I usually go for the cookies and cream. Tastes pretty good.
I like this theme of the podcast. I like how we just come right out the gates firing with common decency. And we just fire away on all our problems. Instead of having a jackass of the week, we could have a common sense jackass of the week who doesn't seem to understand common decent. Like, if you forget your AirPods, you got to take the L, or whatever headphones that you have.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're not allowed to listen. If you forgot, you're done. You're done.
That's what I see. But it's not even like this woman. It's one woman in particular. She goes to the gym every day and she runs on the treadmill every day, which I'm assuming that can't be good for you. Like every day on the treadmill, you shouldn't run every day. And the amount she's sweating too, I'm like, Jesus Christ, she's on there for a long period of time and she'll blast 80s music. And some of it I'm like, oh yeah, a little squeeze, a little tempted by the fruit of another. I can get down to that. But also wear your headphones. She does not care about bringing her headphones any day.
What's the problem with running every day?
You could pull something. Like you don't want to run every day.
I mean, maybe you, but like people run every day all the time. What are you talking about?
You can run every day. Like I think running on the treadmill every day, that you are susceptible to injury. In my belief, like I want to lift weights every day. You don't want to work out the same muscles every day. You want to give yourself a little breather. But if you want to like run around like on the pavement, by all means. But like running on a treadmill, like doing like an hour every day, that's a little excessive, I think.
I can agree with that. If they don't do anything else at the gym, then what are you doing going to the gym? You have the earth.
Yeah.
You don't need a treadmill to run. It's like walking. I see people, you've seen people go to the gym before. I'm not gonna act like it's been a while since I've been, so I'm not gonna act like I've been for a long time. But when people go there just to walk on the treadmill, hey, you know what there is? There's something called outside.
Yeah.
Use that.
No, I'm with you on that. If you want to walk, like easy for me. I have a beautiful lake right near me. I go walk around the lake all the time, and I love it. And get some sunshine. Love it. Love where I live. It's beautiful. But that's where you should be walking.
Yeah.
The gym, yeah. Like I use an elliptical or a treadmill all the time because if I just ran on the street, I give up. Like I could quit very easily just running on my own. With a treadmill, you have to stay up, otherwise you're gonna hurt yourself. So that's all the initiative I need.
Dude, have you ever like? I've done walking on a treadmill before, and there was this trend going around where it's like if you go with a certain incline at a certain speed and you walk like every day for 30 days straight, you're gonna lose a certain amount of weight. But after going on the treadmill, I end up like the main character in Vertigo, whose the actor's name is escaping me right now. Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart.
I end up like Jimmy Stewart in Vertigo, where everything in my vision just sinks. Like it's a camera shot that's zooming out like Steven Spielberg. It's wild, dude.
Yeah, and then are you seeing like guardian angels that help you figure out your future if you've never been born?
It's a different movie, Derek. Come on.
I've only seen a few Jimmy Stewart movies.
Oh, it's a wonderful. Clarence, I walked down the treadmill and now I can't see.
Mary.
Can't see. Oh, I can't see.
Yeah, I've only seen it's Vertigo and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Actually, never seen Vertigo. And
what, you've never seen Vertigo?
No, I never seen it.
Legendary.
Yeah, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes.
And then what's the one where he's seeing his neighbor murder somebody?
Rear Window.
Rear Window, yes. Basically Disturbia, but better version of Disturbia.
It is Disturbia is Rear Window.
Yes.
Don't say that is Disturbia. Yes, Jimmy Stewart based his movie off of Shia LaBeouf.
I'm not saying that he based it off of that. What I'm saying is Disturbia stole from Rear Window.
Yes, it's an
Okay.
updated version. It's a more,
Yes.
Instead of just being able to sit there with your, in a wheelchair where you're at this big ass camera, and clearly, if my memory serves, you'd probably be able to see across the courtyard into the window. Jimmy, what are you doing? You're staring at me in a camera.
I always love, though, in It's a Wonderful Life where he yells at his daughter for playing the piano. I probably referenced this many times, but it just always gets me every time. Like, you gotta play that damn piano right now? Oh, Daddy, why?
This is the 5th time you've done that. This is right up there with my milkshake.
Yeah, you know me, man. I love my references.
Right
Milkshake.
up there.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
My milkshake and get off the piano.
Yeah, sorry. I just love those 2 moments of movie history. Nothing else. By the way, speaking of the Paul Thomas Anderson kick that I've been on, watched The Master for the first time yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Kind of boring.
Yeah, a lot of dialogue.
But like nothing happens in the end. No spoiler or anything, but like just a lot of nothing in that movie. You seen it?
No.
Okay. Well, that's my little pop culture catch up for that. It's not worth your time. There's a lot of good Paul Thomas Anderson movies, but I wouldn't say that's one of them. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa coming to you on a Monday night because we wanted to react to NBA free agency. And I didn't plan for this, anybody. Don't shoot the messenger here. Got a little NFL free agency, big old trade to talk about today. But we'll get to that later. Tacky already has a question in the chat here. From Tacky, what do we trust more, Derek to babysit or Giants to score five runs tonight? So I don't know if you heard, Stephen, but our fellow podcaster Walter Icabal-Setta is having a baby. He announced it on Twitter yesterday, and I guess his lovely baby mama, I guess I'll phrase it, Hannah, or girlfriend. Okay, girlfriend's probably more appropriate, but she's having his baby. I asked if the firstborn could be named Derek, and she politely declined, even though she was flattered. But I did say that I would be a great babysitter, which led to a whole thing on the show today of between me, Copes, and Tim, who would you trust more with your child? And I came up in last. But I got to say, I spent my whole life raising kids. I'm the oldest out of my dad's kids, not to mention my mom, who remarried and have her child. So apparently I've raised 5 kids, but yet people don't trust me.
I'd still take you in last, I think.
Well, why? This isn't a bit. Just be real with me. You and Jesse, if you eventually have kids, you wouldn't trust me with your own?
Being a sibling doesn't mean you know how to raise children, or at least help.
Spent a good deal of time babysitting 5 kids.
Wait, is Ernie too? Don't forget Michael. Is Michael Connell involved in that conversation?
Yes, he plays the character Mr. KMBR on the show. So right. I came up last amongst the 4 of us.
Oh, okay. Well, I put you 3rd out of 4.
You don't even know Copes and Tim.
I know, but I feel like I know them enough to where Copes would just be talking baseball the entire time. I feel like.
Yeah, so the kid will fall asleep fast.
Yes. Yeah. Hard hit percentage and stuff. Wilmer Flores.
Yeah.
Big one. I remember listening to that. That was a big point. I don't know Tim at all.
Was that the other day where Coast was going on and on about stats, like exit velocity? And I was like, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. I was interested in it. I thought he was making really good points. And then you just come in blazing with a response of, yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Bottom line is, not to go on a whole Giants tangent here, but they're not good right now. You can say all these stats, and believe me, they're for true baseball heads, the stats mean something. But to me, it's bottom line is, offensively, they're just putrid. It's really all you can say at this point.
They're not good right now.
No,
they're not good. Yeah. So I don't know. I shouldn't even involve myself in this conversation because I don't know the people that you work with. So there you go.
Okay. Well. If it came down to it, Stephen, and Ian is busy, you could trust me with a child, right?
So let's go back to Tacky's question. Who do we trust more, Derek to babysit or Giants to score 5 runs tonight? I'd go Derek to babysit. That's how little I think of the Giants offense right now.
Okay, there's a little bit of confidence in me. I'm telling you, I'm really good with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, like no bullshit. I actually am really good with kids.
I'm sure you are.
Make them laugh. I'm a big kid at the end of the day.
Yeah. What?
I can relate to them because I'm kind of like a kid. I can goof around and crack jokes and play. I mean, I know like Yo Gabba Gabba and whatever these kids listen to these days, or what's the new one, Bluey. I'm not gonna know this shit, but I'm a pretty good babysitter.
Derek, you've been 45 since you were 20.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
You're old for your age.
I wouldn't say I'm old. I just like to act old. Since I was 20? You didn't know me when I was 20, Steven.
You've been priding yourself on you being an old soul. And now you have to go back to being, I'm like a kid. What are you, Derek? Are you an old soul or are you a child?
I think I'm immature enough where I can relate to children.
Children are fun that way. Like,
see?
You don't really have to like, especially when they're at the age where they don't understand anything.
Yeah.
Like when my niece and nephew, when they were like in that 1 to 2 age range, like you just do a bunch of like wacky noises, kind of like Adam Sandler. Whoa!
Yeah, exactly.
In front, and they just and they
see, it's easy. Kids are easy.
Yeah, until you have to change them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and not so much.
Yeah.
And now they're just, and then my niece she's 8. She's sassy now, man.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Gives me the eye roll. Okay, Uncle Steven. Like, just have me try and make a joke. And then my nephew is I love the kid. I don't have anything bad to say about him.
But that sassy little 8-year-old, I
love both of them. Okay, well, like, but now she's hitting me with the eye rolls and just hi, like.
She gives you one of those. Like, I don't want to talk right now. I'm too busy on my phone.
Yeah, it's too much. Except she's not on her phone. She's actually really, really smart, and it's scary. Like, none of us have been big readers in the Langford clan. I mean, I guess my mom has, because my mom was a librarian. But like.
Speak carefully, just out of experience with Greg Papa. Just carefully when you say clan these days.
Good point. But but in our family, we haven't been big readers. But my niece is like reading at a 7th or 8th grade reading level or something, and she's only 8. It's insane.
Wow, that's very impressive.
I might be overselling it, but you know what? Whatever.
Yeah. Well, you can trust me, Steven. When you and Jesse have little Steven, you can trust me to babysit.
Dude, actually, you know what? You
trying to get off so quickly.
Trying to get Walter's name. Trying to get Walter's child to become Derek. Kind of reminds me of when Ian had my niece and his wife, and they were deliberating on baby names, and I think Ian jokingly agreed that the winner of his fantasy football league could name the child after someone in his team. And so for a little while there, before she was named Geneva, she was going to be called Anquan Bolden Langford.
It's not bad. I like that.
It was really close. It was a close second, but they went with Geneva instead.
That's a lovely name. I told you, I think a long time ago, that my firstborn will be named Jub Jub. I worked it out with my best friend, and it's a promise I made to him, and I don't care what my future wife thinks. The baby will be named Jub Jub.
Good luck.
Yep, that's bound to happen. Otis Bird with an interesting thing here in the chat. Speaking of changing diapers, apparently Nelly isn't going to change diapers either for his or Ashanti's kid. 1, I forgot that Nelly and Ashante were together, and 2, Nelly, or what's his name? Cornelius Haynes, I want to say is his real name. Come on, man. You got to change diapers. That's part of being a dad.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Does he look at the baby and, the hot stench of the poop and just be like, I can't change this diaper. It's too hot in here.
So Nelly,
happened, huh?
What?
This actually happened, huh?
Yeah. He told her that he refuses to change their baby son KK's diapers. Do y'all really be up at night?
What does that mean?
Yes, Nelly. This is a real thing. See, this is where celebrities lose touch with reality. Like, come on, dude. How do you not change the kid's diaper?
Yeah, I would say he's too immature to have children if that's his attitude.
Oh, they're in a reality television show?
No.
Wow. How about that? Stop it with the ads. Whew.
I got another one for you. Does he look at the baby and be like, "Oh man, hot shit"?
That's better.
No, you like the one better? Okay.
It's a lot better.
Ooh,
so much
underlay,
That is-
mama. Yeah. This diaper stinks.
Should have gone with that first.
Okay, all right.
That was it.
All right, let's move over to some
That was
sports.
actually right there for the taking. Now that I think about it.
Like
And
hot shit.
yeah, I'm very sad I didn't think about that first.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other songs that would be appropriate for baby poops, but it'll come to me as the show goes on. Just your opinion, man.
In the diaper. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, we got a lot to get to. We got some NBA free agency that is transpiring as we speak. Not to mention a big old NFL trade and a potential trade the A's could be doing at a spite. But let's start with the NBA. So nothing yet with Jonathan Kuminga. The latest from.
Can I just give you my a quick synopsis of my thoughts of NBA free agency?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Very sad for Shams.
Well, he's the only one that I think on a national level that's him and Chris Haynes, I guess. But and Windhorst really doesn't tweet though. It's really only, I guess, Shams, and then every now and then Chris Haynes will tweet something. But we kind of knew this last year when you and I were doing a NBA free agency show right at 3:00, and Klay Thompson was eligible to sign wherever he wanted to, and we basically had to fill the whole time up being like, well, nothing's happened. Oh yeah, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he signed with the Orlando Magic. Nothing else has happened though. Oh, Chris Paul, he just got cut by the Warriors and signs with the San Antonio Spurs. Nothing else happened though. It's not like NFL free agency where they're pretty much tampering. Like, let's be real. They figured this shit out weeks in advance about where people are going, and it all happens right during the legal tampering period. This NBA free agency, I guess people really more are on their P's and Q's and not really wanting to get, a tampering fine. So they legitimately wait, even though I'm sure they're talking to other teams. But it takes a little bit of time. There's some moves that went down, more so extensions, a little bit of trades, but for the most part, nothing gigantic. But I would also say this free agency class, not that big. Like the biggest one we've had in recent years was probably 2019 because everybody wanted to talk about that more than the NBA playing season. It was all about where Kevin Durant's going to go and Kyrie Irving. And I want to say Al Horford was in that free agency class and just a bunch of big names where, like last year we had Klay Thompson and Paul George, that trade, if that was going to happen, he ended up signing with the 76ers. The year before that, it was Draymond Green, but he signed instantly back with the Warriors. This year, it's probably going to take a little bit of time with Jonathan Kuminga. But as far as like the big names, I don't think we're going to see Giannis trade. We already saw Kevin Durant go. Yeah, and at this point, I think that's probably the biggest domino to fall. Even though Shams on the McAfee show today said, like, get ready, there's going to be some big trades tonight or big moves. It's been some pretty big moves, nothing like groundbreaking. I think so far the one that made me the most like intrigued, I guess, like eyebrow raising was Michael Porter Jr. getting traded to the Brooklyn Nets. And what's his name? Cam Johnson goes to the Denver Nuggets, which I think is a pretty good move for them, get them more shooting. And a guy that Warriors fans have had their eye on for quite some time. But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest move so far to happen today.
I'd say that was the biggest move in terms of a player swap. The one that to me, that it didn't go under the radar, but I think the one that's going to have a huge impact, it's random. It may not be a big name, but Dorian Finney-Smith going to the Rockets.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
I think them re-signing Jabari Smith to a 5-year extension and then adding Dorian Finney-Smith, it doesn't make them the most exciting team of the day. And it's not like they've had the most exciting free agency move, but I think with the slew of moves that they've done, just grouping up all these big wing players, like obviously Kevin Durant, signing Clint Capella as well. Clint Capella back with the Rockets on a 3-year deal.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah, I know you don't, but they're going to be long. Obviously, they signed Steven Adams. It's been a pretty big offseason for them. So that's one for me where I thought that was not the biggest move, but I thought the one that brings a team closer to the championship. Others were just kind of so. Maybe the Hawks. I don't know. Luke Kennard is backup last year. I don't really know what to make of that. I mean, he's going to give you a 39 to 42% shooting from three, but other than that, yeah, nothing major, man. Nothing major. We're still even waiting for the Warriors to make a move. Like they haven't done anything.
I know. Just like some of the moves that happened today, Nickeil Alexander-Walker goes to the Atlanta Hawks on a 4-year deal. And they've been making some solid moves, getting Kristaps Porzingis. I think they made another move that it's not on the top of my head right now. But Bobby Portis signed back with the Milwaukee Bucks. That happened last night. Brook Lopez, who was tied to the Warriors, he goes to the Clippers on a 2-year deal. You mentioned Clint Capella. Bruce Brown, who Michael Malone referred to as Brucey B. And, during the parade ceremony was like, we're definitely bringing him back. And he didn't come back. He ended up signing with the Indiana Pacers. Now he's back. He's back with the Denver Nuggets. D'Angelo Russell signs with the Dallas Mavericks. And, of course, very sad, but we knew it was bound to happen at this point. Kevon Looney left the Warriors after, 9 seasons.
Yeah.
And he signs with the New Orleans Pelicans, so he's going to be the backup center to Zion Williamson, and he's going to team up with Jordan Poole again. Were they tight? I can't even think of if they were like a close friendship.
It wasn't like a Clay and Zaza Pachulia situation. Nothing about their friendship or teammateship, whatever, stood out. It's not like they were best buds.
Right. But yeah, like that one, I thought it was going to happen. And according to Monty Poole, it sounds like the Warriors may not sign back Gary Payton too. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I know when I think of Kevon Looney, I mean, dude, consummate pro. Like we're talking about a guy that had no ego, knew his role, whatever Steve Kerr asked of him, he was going to do. I'll always remember the 2022 championship run, him getting 18 rebounds against the Dallas Mavericks, getting 20 rebounds a couple times during that playoff run. But yeah, I thought he was going to leave so many times. I thought he was going to leave when DeMarcus Cousins signed with the team and he came back. And, was he the most physical center? No. Like I always wanted him to be more forceful around the rim, but he did what he was, assigned to do. He got rebounds. He, played pretty good defense, got on the post every now and then, but it was time to move on. I think that, good opportunity for him with the Pelicans, and he got 3 championships. And when it's all said and done, I said this today on the show, when some people are like, whoa, this is too much. I think it's appropriate. You have to celebrate the guys that were impact players on this team. And I'm not a big jersey retirement guy, but if you're going to give, jersey retirements to the guys that really had an impact on the 4 championships and 3 of them, yeah, if you're going to do it with Andre Iguodala, I think you should do it with Kevon Looney too. And, he'll be embraced by this fan base for a long time, but they wanted to upgrade at the center position. So I'll have fond memories of Kevon Looney and what he did for this team, but it's time to move on.
I don't know about the jersey retirement thing. I kind of agree with the listeners. I think that's a little too far, but whatever. I'm even like with Draymond, like even with Andre, dude, I think I said it before. Like if someone is wearing a number 30 jersey in the future, that should not be allowed. If someone is wearing a number 11 jersey, I don't think that should be allowed. I think that's kind of immortalized. But if another Warrior were to wear number 23, or another Warrior were to wear number 9, or if another Warrior were to wear number 5, I wouldn't look at that and think it's Eli Whiteside wearing Will Clark's number. Like I wouldn't think of it like that. I think they were great, and sure, they deserve to be celebrated, and they will be. They probably will be, but they don't exactly have the toughest grading curve when it comes to jersey retirements, I think. I mean, I get the Andre one because Andre was kind of the one who kick-started it all. And really set the standard of professionalism that paved the way to 4 championships. But I don't know about the Looney one, man. But I don't want to talk about criticizing Looney. I want to celebrate what he did. And you mentioned the 2022 finals run, and I'll get to my favorite play. The one like I always feel like I remember is from Game 6 of the Western Conference Final against the Grizzlies. But to go from 2015 or to go from a 2016 guy where you have surgery on your hip and then surgery on your shoulder to going from this dude at UCLA who used to have handles. Like anyone goes back and watches his highlights from his Bruins days, Kevon Looney looks like a totally different player. To go through what he did and then turn in multiple seasons where he's playing all 82 games. I think there was one year where he was like one of 5 players to play in every game of the regular season and like one of 2 centers, kind of an old school player in that type of way. And every time after that 2019 season, after they lost in Game 6 to the Raptors, and 2020, all of it was kind of a dud, obviously COVID and everything. After that, you're wondering like, where does Kevon Looney fit with this team? Like, what's his role there? Because you're seeing him get beat night after night. You're wondering what his value is. And where his value was being probably the best positioned player on the court, and that he knew where to be at all times. I remember Kolsky doing the 5 a.m. show, did an entire segment on Andre Iguodala and Kevon Looney and their positioning and how true that value holds to a team like the Warriors. And then we go to the 2022 finals run, and we go to that Game 6. This was like my favorite play of that series, just looking at the emotion of Looney, like after he grabs the rebound and the obvious fatigue that he's had after grabbing what is going to be his 22nd rebound, and then having Clay hit this shot, although I could be wrong. He might have been in the 20s with this one. But this play, I just think, represents everything Kevon Looney was about. And he was doing this at a time, again, when he was like the Iron Man of the Warriors.
Has been 1 for 10. Curry, a deep one. Shoot!
Megan.
Curry has the pull. Can't hit. Looney another board. He's got 20. Thompson comes in. And that might be the dagger.
Yeah, just remembering that offensive rebound, the emotion that he'd shown at the end of that, and then Klay Thompson calling him Hakeem or Kevon Loonwajuan after that. Yeah. I'll always remember that play for some reason. I just remember watching that on TV thinking, my God, this was sick. That was wild.
Yeah, maybe the jersey retirement's a little bit too much, but I will say, how do you really celebrate somebody? How do you, like, I don't know, immortalize them in Warriors lore? Like, he's an important part of it. I do think, like, when you look back, like, there's so many interchangeable parts. There was Andrew Bogut for the first one, and David Lee, and then you could have Zaza Pachulia and JaVale McGee. I do think Kevon Looney was just the guy that was always there. He outlasted all the other centers. And, you know, he wasn't a three-point shooter. He didn't do anything like that, but he just, you know, Steve Kerr could trust him. And then, you know, a couple years ago when he didn't play in a game for the first time when he was active, and Steve Kerr felt so bad because he knew, like, this is Trace Jackson Davis's time. But there's still something about Kevon Looney that, you know, he's just a warrior. He fits in with Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. He knew what his role was. There were so many guys that got caught up in their ego, you know, Patrick McCaw, or even now, Jonathan Kuminga. Kevon Looney was so unselfish. And yes, like, there was rumors that during other free agency periods that he could have gone to the Brooklyn Nets and got a bigger contract. He always came back, even when he was going to be overshadowed by DeMarcus Cousins and how big that was. He wasn't going to be ready in time. It was going to be a whole deal where DeMarcus Cousins wasn't going to play until January. So he knew he had some time to fill in and be that guy to help out the Warriors. So, yeah, maybe the jersey retirement's a little bit too much, but you know what? I think that he's one of the more unsung heroes in Bay Area sports history, that I think he does deserve it. Even though, like, maybe his play doesn't deserve it and the player he was, but it's the fact, like, he didn't really need any credit. Like how many guys, like we were talking about this on the radio a couple months ago, actually. Like when it comes to Kevon Looney, can you think of any other Niners or Giants that were unsung heroes but were important parts of a championship dynasty?
Well, this might be a bad example, but you know, they don't have statues or jersey retirements of these guys, and that's why they have the plaques out there in center field. But I think of the core four. I think beyond, you know, Madison Bumgarner in 2014. Like I think of Sergio Romo and Javi Lopez and Jeremy Affeldt. Like I think of those guys from the bullpen. Like I think those are kind of the unsung heroes. Like Kevon Looney is the equivalent, like almost of a relief pitcher.
Yeah.
Where he just comes in and does his job. And it's a thankless job. But I think that's one.
Yeah, Rockin' suggesting some guys like Pablo. Pablo went on to be, you know, he got 3 home runs in the World Series and got a huge contract with the Boston Red Sox. I don't think he was really unsung. And then like Niner, he says Joe Staley. Joe Staley was a big personality. Like you never really heard a lot from Kevon Looney. He was just kind of the quiet there to handle his business. I don't think like when you look back on it, like you can think about Niners in the 80s, the Giants that won 3 World Series, but I don't think anyone has had a bigger impact and not celebrated as much as Kevon Looney.
Well, I think where we're getting to is they need something else.
Yeah.
They need something else besides statues and jersey retirements. Like Ernie too says, you know, the Niners, how about Joe Staley? Well, they have the 49ers Hall of Fame, and I think Joe Staley's a 49ers Hall of Famer. And that's one way to get immortalized. And I don't think they have that for the Warriors. So maybe that's the next step. You know, you can't celebrate all these guys, but maybe one where you're putting the Sean Livingstons or, I don't know, the David Wests. Like I can't, not really David West. That's just kind of one and done, but you know what I mean.
Fan favorites though. I'm with you, Steven. We're like, there are guys that need to be remembered. Like the Warriors don't have a big history. They have the championship back in 1975 with Rick Barry. And, you know, there's a few great moments that we remember in Run TMC or We Believe. And then there was the dynastic run. And I think, like, you know, for a franchise that doesn't retire a bunch of jerseys, it's okay to retire those that meant so much to you. Like Steph Curry obviously will get his jersey retired. Andre Iguodala just had his. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. That's about it. I don't mind throwing Kevon Looney in that mix just because of what he meant to the franchise. There's not going to be – I don't know what's going to happen in the future. And then for the past, there's only a few. There's Rick Barry and Steph Curry and, you know, Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway.
Paul Arizin, that's another one.
Which one?
Paul Arizin, an older player.
Yeah. Mitch Richmond. And, yeah, we, you know, respect him, but, you know, none of us saw him really play. So, you know, like, yeah, like that's –
Nate Thurman.
Yeah, exactly. Nate Thurman, like just guys that should be remembered. So maybe he should be celebrated more in a Warriors Hall of Fame, but there isn't one right now. So I have no problem with making Kevon Looney a retired jersey.
Jarrett Jack, Carl Landry,
yeah,
Louis Amundsen, Corey Maggette,
sure,
Ronnie Turioff,
okay,
Gilbert Arenas.
No.
Ooh. I'm on a roll here.
Sure you are. Okay. Chris Webber while you're at it?
Chris Webber, dude? Come on. How about it?
I mean, like you can throw like
Larry Hughes?
Antoine Jameson I put in there.
Antoine Jameson. Yeah. There you go.
But
I'm
yeah,
more
no, dude, like
sarcastic with the Carl Landrys and Jarrett Jacks, by the way.
Yeah, I figured. But yeah, dude, like we'll always remember Kevon Looney.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it was time. They needed something different at the center position. So
how do they
now
not have Warriors Hall of Fame? I'm trying to look that up. I'm surprised they don't.
I'm not surprised because their history's basically a few eras and then just recently.
Yeah. What do you call it? Because the 49ers Hall of Fame is the Eddie D. DeBartolo Hall of Fame. So or Edward James DeBartolo, whatever his name is. I can't remember his middle name. Not Eddie D. DeBartolo. But they call it, they renamed it after him. What do they call it for the Warriors? The Don Nelson Hall of Fame.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Chris Cohan, Hall of Fame.
I was thinking that. I was thinking that in my head, but I was like, no one's going to celebrate Chris Cohan. No, the Don Nelson Hall of Fame. No, that actually is appropriate. I like that a lot, Stephen.
All right, Joe. Get on
Here
it,
you
man.
go. Yeah, and then we see like in a couple of weeks. I was listening to this podcast, two young guys talking about Warriors Hall of Fame, and maybe we should do that.
I think I recognize that one guy. He was sitting at the desk at the board. He was really awkward that one day. He kind of said hello, but didn't really. Looked afraid. Looked timid. No, I remember him.
There's him, and then there's Greg Papa's idiot son.
Wow. I'm glad that we're known by that. The timid board operator and Greg Papa's idiot son.
Hey, if that's how people that's how people remember us, then
so be it.
We're doing something right. So yeah, now with him gone, I'm assuming that they must have something in place or have a good feeling about getting a replacement. And the name that's been attached the most is Al Horford. Anthony Slater had a whole article today about the latest with John the Kuminga. Basically, there hasn't been anything new with the contract negotiations over the weekend. They did basically tender his restricted free agency, so $7.9 million if someone comes in, and I'm assuming he gets a bigger contract than that this offseason. But basically, someone has to, exceed that, and then he'll go to that team if the Warriors want to get into a bidding war or don't want to get into a bidding war. But yeah, that's the name that Anthony Slater threw out there. Monty Poole a week ago had like Brooke Lopez, who signed with the Clippers, or Clint Capella, who signed with the Rockets. DeAndre Ayton is out there as well. He is going to do a contract buyout with the Portland Trail Blazers. I like him because he's young, but he doesn't really fit the Warriors scheme. He's more of a rebounder, and he'd be a good, perimeter defender. But as far as, you don't like him?
No, I'm out on that.
He does get injured a lot. And
he has an attitude issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's a little strong and a little vague and it's too much of a generalization, but just reading different things, you haven't really read good stuff about Ayton in the locker room. And I just don't know how he'd fit with the Warriors when they really want high character guys more than anything.
That's more than fair. But when the playoffs come around and we're getting our rebound every game, it's good to have a good rim protector, but I'm with you on that one, Stephen. It's just when I hear Al Horford, and that's the guy, like, I guess lately, like on the NBA free agency special, everybody was unanimous saying, like, wait for Al Horford to go to the Warriors. 39 years old. I mean, like, again, like, we're doing moves that make the team older. And I know, like, he would fit perfectly for what they want to do. Rebounder, three-point shooter. But he's 39. And that just scares me when Steph and Draymond and Jimmy, I've said ad nauseum, are 35 plus. So the bottom line is, I don't think there's a move to be had where the Warriors will be the team to beat in the West. I think they're going to have to still go through OKC and Houston and Denver and Minnesota. And it's just going to be tough for the Warriors. So at the end of the day, if they sign Al Horford, that'll be pretty big, but not big enough where I'm like, damn, now they're championship contenders. I just don't see it that way.
Well, I don't really know if they could have made any moves that would have put them into the championship contender category. Maybe if they signed Steven Adams, but that ship had obviously sailed with what was remaining with a Brooke Lopez or an Al Horford. I wasn't feeling very confident in that. All I'm going to say, and I'm not here to tell you that this would have fixed everything and their center woes would be just vanished had they done this. But if these two draft picks, for whatever reason, don't work out, this dude that they got out of Australia and Will Richard out of Florida, Alex Tui is the other guy's name. If those two guys don't happen to work out, I think that trading back in the draft might be looked at as a mistake if a big man was what you needed, because the position that was most available in that second round was centers, big men. There was a lot of them that were going to be taken, and it looked like Maxime Reynaud from Stanford was going to be right there for the Warriors. And according to ESPN, going into the second round, he was the best available. And instead, he went to the Kings, the pick after. So again, I'm not saying like it was the wrong decision for the Warriors. It's just I hope one of those guys pans out, because I'm almost looking at the second round of the draft with the 41st pick is like the only option where they could have maybe upgraded at the center position.
Yeah, but they wanted to get a veteran presence there. I hear you, Steven, but I think that they really wanted somebody that's been there, done that. And now it sounds like someone that's really been there, done that in Al Horford. We'll see what happens. He could go someplace else. They're basically every center that they're interested in, they're going to have to fight with the LA Lakers on. Like the Lakers have the same issues the Warriors have. They need a lot more three-point shooting, and they need a big man, a rim protector. And that's the Warriors and Lakers look at the same guys right now. Just as far as Kuminga, you have anything new? Mark Spears came out today and said that he would anticipate that, not even that, he's talked to a few people that would suggest that Jonathan Kuminga's market is not going to be what he expects, so maybe he'll come back to the team. And, I've asked Mark that same question, what people thought initially during the postseason when he was putting up 30 points and, games without Steph Curry, that was going to catapult his free agency stock, and that's not the case. Like this could be a long process, but I hope it's not, because that will dictate kind of what the Warriors do this offseason. So I hope they figure it out soon, but I'm leaning in the direction that I don't think he's coming back. I think that some team will overpay for him, and the Warriors just don't want to give him that amount of money. So my hope is that a sign and trade does happen. And I think the best thing that they could do this offseason really is to trade him to Miami and they get Andrew Wiggins in return. That's what I'm kind of looking forward to. But you don't think so?
No, it's already – I think it was Brett Siegel who's been covering for Clutch Points, I think. He said, the Andrew Wiggins thing to the Warriors is not happening, like according to the sources. I don't know if that's true or not. But he was also the same who reported that Kuminga is looking for more than $30 million a year. That was before –
that ain't happening with the Warriors.
That was before he tested the free agent market. I think when his agent started making calls, because clearly there hasn't been any illegal tampering, which has made for a very boring free agency start.
Yeah, we need tampering in sports, people. Come on.
When his agent called, I guarantee you they were not getting the deals that they wanted. And that's why I think you're hearing a lot of, Kuminga could re-sign with Golden State because no other team is willing to give him what they might be willing to give him. And I think that could be somewhere. I think our boy Evan had it. Well, Bobby Marks had it, then Evan had it too. Evan reminded, but they could pay him $25 million and they could stay under the apron. And it's a very tradable contract. So you got that. Like, what does it matter what they pay him for as long as they stay under the apron? Like, if it's a tradable contract and they manage to stay under the tax bracket, then it's okay, in my opinion. But they don't want to make him the third highest paid player on the team, which is what a $30 million contract would do, right behind Steph Curry and Draymond. Like and Jimmy Butler. Like, if you could get him for, I don't even know. Like, we're seeing a lot of 3-year deals being thrown around, like somewhere in between 20 and 25, 3 years with a third-year player option. And, dude, honestly, thinking about it today too, Kuminga is interesting. Obviously, he's the one domino to fall, but then what's the next domino? Okay, you bring in Al Horford. Fine. No, what I'm interested in seeing is, and this might be one that shouldn't even be thought about, but what I'm more interested in is what they do eventually with Brandon Podziemski. That's what I'm interested in, because he is going into the third year of his contract, and this is the time when they can become eligible for a contract extension. And I'm wondering, like, does his name get included in a potential trade along with Kuminga if they re-sign him and they try to go after someone else? Do they actually want to stick with Podziemski and have him ushering in the new era along with whoever else? Like, I'm almost more interested in Podziemski's future contract rather than Kuminga's current one, just because I think we're just talking so much about it. And I think we all know it's not going to be for the long term. Kuminga's said as much. I'm worried that it's going to be like another Jordan Poole 2023 year where it just feels awkward knowing that he doesn't want to be there, just bad body language on the bench, feeling like he deserves more. I'm almost more interested in the Podziemski contract more than anything else that they're doing this offseason.
I don't want Jonathan Kuminga coming back to the Warriors if it's longer than a 1-year deal. I think That's all I want is just one more year. And I don't want to keep doing this because I don't think he's going to get what he wants here. He wants to be the star. And it's pretty clear that Steve Kerr does not see him as a star on this particular team.
Totally.
So if we keep running these games where he signs a 2-year deal and is Kuminga in the lineup, okay, is he going to write an article or is he going to have his agent or somebody leak something to Shams being like, I don't believe in Steve Kerr anymore. I'm just tired of these games. So if he's willing to accept the role, be a Kevon Looney type and be unselfish for one more season to be a 6th man, I'm all for it. But if he has his heart set on being the guy, like he said to Anthony Slater a week ago, then it's time to move on. I don't want to keep doing this. It's not fair to him, and it's not fair to Steve Kerr and the Warriors. So, yeah, I like 1 year, $30 million, way too much. I would say even 1 year, $25 million is too much for a guy that didn't really play that much. And you can blame Steve Kerr for that, and you should blame Jonathan Kuminga for not really buying into the offense. That's the reason why he's kind of sabotaged his own free agency, in my opinion. But yeah, I think we're leaning in the direction of him leaving. But who knows? He may kind of have to come back, for lack of a better term, but with his tail between his legs because he thought he was going to get this robust, free agency tour, and that's not going to happen. So we'll see what happens.
I thought it was just too late, man. I mean, if he didn't get injured last year, I wonder if they would have traded him at the deadline because if he was hurt going into that trade. So
I think so.
Value. You think so?
I think they would have traded him. I think that the way that Draymond was talking, being like, it's time for, the young buck to show his thing. I'm happy to come off the bench. I think they were showcasing him to the league. And then he got hurt. I fully expected that if the season didn't turn around, that they were going to trade Kuminga just to showcase him and for him to get his minutes and his points and see how he plays with Steph Curry. But he got injured real quick, and that's where they needed to make the trade for Jimmy Butler, and then he became an afterthought. So I think he fits very well as a closer for this team when they could build a big lead, and then he comes in the second and fourth quarter and just, does his thing. I'm cool with that. But for him to expect, like, I want to start with Steph and Draymond and Jimmy, no, man, you're not that type of player. You're going to throw things off. It's redundant to have you in the same starting lineup with Jimmy Butler. We saw it in the postseason. Yeah, he scored 30 points, but it was in a game where, they had no business in that game 4. They were getting blown out in that game. Game 3, they were in it, but then they lost the lead in the third quarter, or the fourth quarter, actually. I don't think really Jonathan Kuminga made impact plays in the postseason. But people are going to look at a box score and say, like, well, he's a winning player. No, he's not. He's not a winning. He's an individual player. He doesn't make anybody better around him. He doesn't get rebounds. He doesn't get assists. He gets his. And if you want to go to the Miami Heat or Brooklyn Nets or Chicago Bulls where you can shine, by all means, I have no issue with that. But for what the Warriors want to do, it just doesn't work. So, like I said, man, we'll see what happens. I'm anticipating him being dealt. But if his market's not as good as he thinks as he thought he was going to be, then he might come back here.
We need to see a major character arc from him, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking one of those TV dramas where you are just so out on this person, and then all of a sudden they're back. They have like a realization, an epiphany, and I don't know what that needs to be. I don't know if that needs to be this free agent thing, because right now, just looking back at restricted free agents from the past and just looking at the success that Obi Toppin has had since he got traded from the Knicks, that was the best comparison I could think of, because they were both drafted similar spots. Obviously, Kuminga was drafted a little higher than he was, but with the same potential. It's like, oh, this Obi Toppin guy can dunk. Oh, he could be a scorer. He could do all these different things. And it just wasn't working with the Knicks because they had other means of trying to win. So they said, you know what? Okay, we're just going to trade you now, and you're still going to have 1 year left on your deal. You're basically going to be on a 1 year prove it deal. And once that contract runs out, maybe you can get it with your next team. And lo and behold, he ends up getting a 4-year deal with the Indiana Pacers, and then he's playing in the NBA Finals. Like, it almost feels like we're talking about this because they made all the wrong moves to where it was too late. Like, Kuminga, if you wanted out, you should have just requested a trade.
Yeah.
Instead of going to the media, instead of going to Shams and having your agent go to him and say that you can't stand Steve Kerr and that you can't develop under Kerr and you're blaming everyone. Like, why didn't you just want out then? Like, I know that Joe loves you. Tell Joe Lacob, like, hey, man, if you love me, you'll let me go.
Set me free.
Yeah. Like, it just it feels like they almost did him a disservice in this way. It's bizarre, man. And they've hung on for too long. And now you're just in this awkward situation where you and I can keep going back and forth. And we're probably not going to be happy with the outcome if he sticks in a Warriors uniform next season. And it feels unfair because JK seems to be an all-around okay dude. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously I just said all the things that I said, but it's not like he's a bad worker. It seems like he wants to contribute, but also wants to be a star and is trying to toe that line. I don't know, man. I almost don't like saying bad things about the guy, especially because of just like where he came from and the adversity that he had to go through in order to get to where he was at. And you know what? I always go back to what Tom was saying when he joined us. By the way, Tyler Fitzgerald just hit a double to center to tie the game 2-2 against the Diamondbacks. Big one. Bases clearing double. I go back to what Tom said because I think it was Tom who said this, but it's the G League stuff, man. The G League Ignite. It's not team basketball. It's me, ISO stuff. Sure, you're going to dominate in the G League, but you got a lot of elite, talented players around you. They don't teach you schemes like at the NBA level. So that's another factor in it too. Like just the development. Everyone's always blaming Steve Kerr. Well, why not blame his G League upbringing? Because he's been a pro since he was 18 years old.
Yeah. At this point,
I went on a tangent there, and I just went all over the place, dude.
But
that was like a Jackson Pollock painting of takes.
I mean, that's basically me whenever I speak on anything. I just all over the place. But yeah, dude, I hear you, and I don't think we're gonna know anything tonight or maybe even tomorrow. We'll see what happens with Jonathan Kuminga, but I do think it's in the best interest for both parties to split, but who knows? Like as Ernie once says in the chat here, it kind of feels like Jimmy G where he thinks he's gone, but then comes back. Yeah, it could be like that. We'll see, though. I mean, and it turns out the Niners needed Jimmy Garoppolo to thrive that season, and then, ultimately broke his foot, and then Brock Purdy came in. But, yeah, we'll see if Jonathan Kuminga can accept the role of being a sixth man and not, take everything so much to heart about, like, oh, I'm not getting mine. Like, just fill the role that Steve Kerr asked you to do, and it will help you going forward if you want to hit free agency to, make bank. But who knows? Who knows at this point? To the other point you made, too, about Brendan Pajemski, is he eligible for a contract anytime soon, Steven?
He'll be in his third year. So at the end of his third year, he'll be eligible, yeah. And they have till the deadline going into the fourth. I
will say, I don't think he should be anything more than what Moses Moody made. But I think both guys at this point, Pods and Moses Moody, I don't want them starting. Nothing to do with them in the postseason, and but it seems like both guys were injured, so that's kind of what led to them, being inefficient when it comes to shooting and whatnot. But yeah, I want to see the Warriors upgrade and get a starting 2 guard and a starting 5, and Brandon Pajemski and Moses Moody be your leaders when it comes to the second unit.
Yeah, I just think you knew where they stood with Kuminga though, like in that third year, and you kind of assumed that they were going to reject whatever contract extension they could possibly give him off that rookie deal. Right. Brandon Pajemski is one I'm going to be paying attention to a lot this season, just because it really is a contract year. And do you really want to move forward with him? Can you move forward with him? And I don't know, maybe getting Draymond and Jimmy's money off the books and just rebuilding that way. Like Pajemski going to be the centerpiece of that?
No.
Like that's. I don't think. After all these drafts with James Wiseman, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, is Brandon Pajemski really going to be the one guy you give like that max extension to?
I highly doubt that, Stephen.
Well, could happen
with Brandon Pajemski.
Joe Lacob loves him.
Not enough to give him a max deal.
That's what you'd get. Contract extension off the rookie contract.
Well, Moody didn't get a max deal though.
Well, he turned into a restricted free agent.
I don't know about that, but I mean, who knows? Who knows? As far as other moves that went down in the NBA free agency, a guy that I would have loved to have the Warriors go after. I've loved Naz Reid's game for a long time, but it was going to be hard for the Warriors to pry him away from the Timberwolves. He signs a 5-year deal, a max deal, $125 million. And they also signed Julius Randle back for 3 years, $100 million. So they got their guys. I mean, Julius Randle turned it around this season, kind of a rough start. Naz Reid has been, a guy that could come off the bench and actually play with Rudy Gobert at times, but he would have been perfect for the Warriors. James Harden declined his player option, went into free agency again, but signed back with the Clippers immediately, signs a 2-year deal, $81 million. Jabari Smith signs a 3-year deal, $122 million with the Rockets. And then this one, LeBron James opts into his contract for this season to play another season with the Lakers to get $52 million. But simultaneously with the news of him signing, Rich Paul says LeBron knows the Lakers are building for the future, but he values a realistic chance of winning it all. So basically, he's saying, I'm signing back, but I want to see what the Lakers do. And for a guy that complained about ring culture a couple of weeks ago to Steve Nash on his podcast, now it's like I have to win it all this last season. And, that's what Steph Curry wants to do. That's what LeBron James wants to do. But if you really weren't thrilled or confident in what was going to happen with the Lakers, why wouldn't you just go into free agency then? Now you're forcing them to potentially trade you, which Brian Windhorst said this morning on Get Up, no one's going to trade for LeBron James in 41 years old and making that amount of money. No. Then you have to give up assets for him. Like if you want to go to like the Mavericks or someplace appealing, you were better off being a free agent. So I don't understand this move whatsoever from LeBron's standpoint of being passive aggressive, of being like, I know it's Luka's team now. And Rob Pelinka, he's not thinking about me and my future. But, I just want to be on a team that's actually going to contend for a championship this year. And they were the 3rd seed in the Western Conference this year, and it was convoluted, so they could have gone anywhere from 3rd to 7th. But I just don't think, I think LeBron's just talking a big game right now, and he wants to finish his career with LA. He doesn't want to go anyplace else. He loves LA and his production team and everything's out there. But he's putting pressure on Rob Pelinka when he knows this isn't my team anymore. This is going to be Luka's team. And I just think that he played this the wrong way. If you really have question marks about the Lakers, just go into free agency. Don't bitch and complain.
He's retiring.
So you think this is just his last hurrah and please make sure you go all in for my last season and then I'm done?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's given the game all that he has to give it. I really do. I think he's done. The message was just so vague. I can't imagine that he'll go anywhere else. I think he's going to finish up his career with the Lakers, and this is it. And if he feels like they can contend for a championship the next year, then they'll just give him a 1-year deal. I truly think that's going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes this year out with the Lakers and realizes that this isn't my team anymore and it's going to be a pain in the ass to win a championship in the West. And he may sign back with the Cavaliers just to finish his last season with them. I wouldn't be surprised about that.
Could do. I like how he's doing this, by the way, to throw us off the scent. Has a Mind the Game podcast coming up with Steve Nash and KD.
I'm opening this wine. I think the best way to start is y'all got anything you guys want to talk about, maybe? This is the place to do it. This will be the place.
Okay, I knew that KD was going to be on the podcast, but I didn't know Steve Nash was going to be a part of it. That's incredibly awkward because I don't know what the relationship is like today. KD was really close with Steve Nash during his time with the Warriors, but we all know that in order for him to stay with the Brooklyn Nets, at one point he did tell the owner, I want Sean Marks, the GM, fired. And I want Steve Nash, the guy that I picked to be the Brooklyn Nets head coach, I want him fired as well. So I would love to hear how that interview goes tomorrow.
There's that one book that the excerpt from the book about the Nets that came out a while back. I remember we had him on 95.7. It was like a huge deal about how KD, Kyrie, and James Harden created this super team, quote unquote, on the Nets. And one of the chapters of the book was about how he reeled in Steve Nash and they went to some beach in Los Angeles. I forgot. I think it was like Huntington Beach or something.
Yeah.
And they got together and he tried to convince him to come coach the Nets with James Harden and Kyrie. And that's how it was all done. I wonder if that's going to get put into this podcast. But anyway, the whole point of me saying that was I'm not really interested in KD and Steve Nash's beef. That's probably not going to be beef, and you're just going to end up in a Magic and Isaiah situation where it's just awkward watching two grown men, talk out their problems. But no, it just throws you off the scent. It's like, all right, LeBron, you just accepted your player option and left a wide open door as to what's going to happen in your career. But let's talk about KD and Steve Nash, and let's release that episode the day after free agency starts.
Yeah.
It's all everything he does is calculated, man.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. Where it would be interesting when they recorded this thing to see if KD talks about being traded to the Rockets, and yeah, they have to acknowledge what went on with the Brooklyn Nets. But yeah, like LeBron, is he going to talk about his own thing right now, or is he going to have Rich Paul to speak for him when it comes to, I want the Lakers to do more things. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if DeAndre Ayton goes to the Lakers because he kind of fits more their style, and the Warriors get Al Horford. They definitely need to get like the same things. Like they need to get a center, the Warriors need to get a center. So we'll see what happens. But yeah,
we'll look out for Boston too. The Celtics need one. Celtics need one bad.
They do, but I think with the whole second apron thing, that they knew what kind of deal the season was going to be, so they're just going to rely on the draft, and which they already did. They drafted their players and just see what they could do with Jalen Brown and Derek White this season, and kind of treat it like the Warriors did a couple of years ago with the 15 wins, just kind of take a sabbatical.
Yeah.
But another piece of NBA news that's kind of being swept under the rug because we got free agency going down, and this guy is a free agent, but I don't know if he's going to be signing him anytime soon. Malik Beasley. He is a free agent from the Detroit Pistons, but he's also dealing with a lot bigger things right now. The U.S. District Attorney is investigating Beasley for allegations of gambling related to NBA games and prop bets. And this is, who was the guy that got busted a year ago for gambling on himself?
Jonte Porter.
And then you had a couple years ago with the Colts, it was a couple guys with the Lions, I want to say.
Yeah, Jameson Williams,
but he made a mistake where he was betting on college football or basketball, and he did it inside the facility, so that was an honest mistake. I want to say Isaiah Rodgers, that was it. With the Colts, he actually was betting on NFL games, and he didn't get a lifetime ban, but he was suspended for an entire season and was brought back.
Yeah.
Malik Beasley, he's a well-known player in this league for quite some time. And there's clips now coming out where he's saying in post-game interviews, I bet on myself for this season, and people are taking that too literal. But man, free agency and this happening simultaneously at the same time, that's bad timing for him. We'll see how this turns out, but
feels like that was calculated too. Right when free agency is coming up, this is when that story's going to get released. Terry Rozier was also under investigation for the same thing.
That's right.
Nothing came to fruition with that. The one game, it stems from January 31st of 2024 when he was playing for the Milwaukee Bucks. So a lot of what people are sharing aren't clips from him playing with the Bucks, but there's quite a few which feel like some damning evidence where he is really going against the spread. It's like really hoping that his team gets that plus 8.5 or whatever number that is.
Right.
And they're usually going to get a $12 million a year deal. Just brutal timing, but whatever. And I imagine that they will, if the NBA is steadfast on, sticking with your priors and the repeated whatever patterns of behavior, obviously they're going to look at that arrest from 2021 and look at that jail time of 4 months. And then, I think take that into account with whatever they do with this. But as the NBA does, they're just going to wait until the federal investigation is over with and then kind of dictate what they're going to do from there. But I don't think we'll see Malik Beasley anytime soon.
Probably not. And I think as long as gambling is, legal in majority of states now, we're going to see more players do this. And I'm not advocating for, making gambling illegal all over the country. I still think that we should be doing it here in California if everybody else is doing it. But the players need to be smarter about this. But it's tough. when everybody else is getting in on the act and you're young and stupid, you're going to make dumb decisions sometimes. That's what happened with Calvin Ridley. Remember when he was just on a bye week dealing with mental illness when he was with the Atlanta Falcons and was in Jacksonville and, made a bet while he was in Florida, and then the NFL came back to him. Funny enough, got traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this is just going to keep happening, and I don't know how you fix it because it's too profitable right now. People are making too much money off of this. The leagues that are so what's the word I'm looking for? Just like so noble, I guess, and like held themselves in such a high regard in the past about gambling, where Tony Romo had to get rid of a whole weekend thing in Vegas because the NFL didn't want to be affiliated with that, to now it's like we're promoting it on the ticker all the time. So you can't have it both ways, but it's not going away anytime soon. So it sucks, but yeah, that's just what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens with Malik Beasley's future. And yeah, the free agency timing is not good for him. And also interesting timing, right when NBA free agency is about to kick off, the NFL has a bit of news themselves. And it was a gigantic trade today. I don't think I've seen so many players involved in one trade in quite some time. That was the norm back in the day where you traded players for players. Like I remember Champ Bailey being traded for Clinton Portis or Sam Bradford being traded for Nick Foles. But it's rare in this day and age with the value of draft picks that you see players being traded for one another. And I was waiting for Jalen Ramsey to get traded. There were some rumors that were popping up about him potentially going to the Pittsburgh Steelers or maybe even the LA Rams. And then this morning we got the news that Jalen Ramsey is indeed getting traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers along with Jonnu Smith, tight end who had a great year a season ago with the Miami Dolphins, and a 2027 7th round pick to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027 5th round pick. Now, if you remember, Minkah Fitzpatrick did play for the Dolphins just one season, had a really, really good rookie year, and then didn't fit in with Brian Flores whatsoever and got traded during the season for a first-round pick to go to the Steelers. And Minkah Fitzpatrick has been a really good safety in this league. I would say maybe the best, but he's 29 right now, and his contract's up, I believe, in 2 years. So this is going to free up some space for them to sign TJ Watt. That's the first thing that I thought of was like, okay, they're trying to get him off the roster, and that way you can probably pay TJ Watt to be the highest paid defensive player in football if that's the route they're going to take. So that frees up money for that. Jalen Ramsey going to the Steelers, very interesting. I think that Mike Tomlin's got to deal with a bunch of guys that are headaches. Like DK Metcalf is definitely no walk in the park sometimes when he's got to deal with not getting the football. He's demonstrative in that regard. Aaron Rodgers, we talk about it ad nauseum about him sometimes. And Jalen Ramsey, yeah, like if he's bought into what you're doing, then you don't have to worry about that. He's kind of, a little too much at times, I would say. I remember a game years ago where he injured a player and didn't really give a shit about it. But he's been a solid corner in this league for quite some time. But I think Mike Tomlin could handle him. He's one of the few coaches that I have faith in where you can wrangle in all these, personalities and egos. But with the move of Minkah Fitzpatrick going to Miami, now there's a void there at free safety, and they already have Joey Porter. They already have Joey Porter Jr. They already have Darius Slayton. I think Jalen Ramsey is going to be a safety, making the Charles Woodson move, going from corner to safety. So very big trade. Steelers went from trading away George Pickens, a month ago to now like making some big moves. I don't think this changes that much. I think they'll be very solid defensively. Offensively, kind of the same deal. I think that they'll be a playoff team, but not a Super Bowl contender. But yeah, this was a pretty significant move today on the last day of June for the NFL.
I guess.
Okay.
No, I mean, no, I'm not trying to like downplay the. It's a big deal, sure, because you don't see this happen very often, and you got a couple of guys who are all pros, and Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think one of my favorite tweets was like, Minkah Fitzpatrick at one point was the next Jalen Ramsey. Like he was just that good. But when I really thought about it, it feels kind of lateral. Like both teams got better. But am I going to put the Steelers past the, hey, we'll become a playoff team through the wild card and then maybe make it through the wild card game and then lose in the divisional round, like that's still where I have the Steelers off this trade regardless. And I don't think it's fair to make any assumptions about how the Steelers season is going to go if they don't lock up TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big one, man. Like TJ Watt, that's what kind of went under the radars, the whole TJ Watt deal. I would like this move a hell of a lot more if it didn't involve Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think that to move him away, that's pretty significant. I think that Minkah, I mean, I don't even know how he feels about going back to Miami. It's a totally different coaching staff. He's playing for Mike McDaniel and a new defensive coordinator. But there's a reason why he wanted to leave. And yeah, when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, you can name other safeties in this league, but I probably put him number one. Just his ability he had like a shit ton of pick sixes, I want to say, in his tenure with the Steelers, and all pros. Like, he was a good player. But yeah, when you have to make a big time contract, or do a big time contract and sign a pass rusher, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. So I understand why they did the deal, but yeah, like, to lose Minkah Fitzpatrick in the process to potentially play a guy in his 30s that hasn't played safety before is risky. But also, I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is not that much younger than Jalen Ramsey. So, yeah, it's a lot of moves. And also, I think they increased Jalen Ramsey's pay for this season. So now he's making like $26 million. But I think they probably knocked off some years on that contract. So, I don't know. I'm with you, Steven. It's not like initially when you see the deal, you're like, Jalen Ramsey goes to the Steelers. Okay, he gets to team up with Minkah and Darius Slayton and Joey Porter Jr. That's a solid secondary. But now that Minka's out of it, yeah, that definitely lets is less intriguing as far as who's in their secondary. But for the Dolphins, yeah, you want to get something in return, but they're in a weird transition right now where the reason why Jalen Ramsey left was because he didn't respect Mike McDaniel. They had to pay a lot of contracts to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And now they're, basically them going all in has backfired in their face, where now they have to sell off, certain players. They didn't want to give a contract to Jonnu Smith. They, bring back Minkah Fitzpatrick. They didn't want to deal with Jalen Ramsey anymore. So it's kind of a weird deal where they still want to be competitive, but they're also getting away of big-time contracts in the process. So, yeah, I don't have a lot of expectations for the Dolphins this season. I think that Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat, and we'll see what they do while you're laughing at something that you're reading.
No, I'm not laughing at anything I'm reading. The Giants and Diamondbacks right now, Christian Koss hit what looked like it could have been a home run, but a fan got in the way, and it's with 2 outs, and it looks like they ruled it a double, but Bob Melvin is challenging that it's a home run because Koss is out there at second base. I don't even know or maybe they called him out. I don't know, but a fan caught the ball instead of the Diamondbacks outfielder. I wish I had the broadcast on, but keep you abreast of that, Derek.
There you go. See, you're warming up to the breast.
And the thing with this trade, though, we're wondering why it's happening. I think we're seeing a lot of it out of Pittsburgh right now. Oh no, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me.
Classic Steven and his orgasm sneezes.
Yeah. The
oh no, here it comes.
The comments that I sent you a while back, though, where Cam Hayward, Deshaun Elliott were calling out the team. Cam Hayward said when one guy, it was after their Christmas Day loss to the Chiefs, where they lost like 29-14 or something. I went back and watched the highlights of that game. And thank you, Otis. See, that's the appropriate term. Bless you. Don't say you and your orgasm sneezes. Thank you. Bless you is the correct way to respond.
Please, like you would have said, God bless you or Gesundheit to me.
Gesundheit might have been a stretch.
Yeah.
But going back to the tweets from Christmas Day, when Cam Hayward called out one guy on defense who's not doing their job when 10 guys are, Deshaun Elliott saying, I don't want to pull up this tweet, but he or this quote, But he said, first off, guys can't be wide open. That's the first thing. Just do your job. I thought we were communicating, but guys weren't doing their freaking job. And if you look at the highlights, there's at least one touchdown where it seems Fitzpatrick is out of position. There's one deep pass to Justin Watson and another where he's just kind of in no man's land playing deep safety. I don't know what the call is, but so they called it out on Christian Koss.
Oh,
Sorry. And now it's a double. They're counting it as a double. So there you go.
Okay.
It's just one out.
But I'm seeing people in my Giants dong poll say like that should be a home run. There's no reason why that shouldn't be a home run.
I agree. And then you also had, they're not pointing this one out, but TJ Watt kind of had some subtle comments on about how one guy on defense isn't doing his thing. And then Ray Fittipaldo from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Minkah Fitzpatrick was set to count almost $23 million against the cap this year and had not produced the level he did. Don't discount the communication and chemistry issues that were present for much of last season. The secondary was in disarray in December and January. And with him being the de facto leader of that secondary, I think with them trading him away, that should tell you as much.
Yeah. I mean,
blaming it all on your all-pro is kind of weak sauce, but I think that the frustration was really growing there. And everyone kept trying to call out like Patrick Queen or TJ Watt. It's like, no, they're not going to do that.
No. Well, Patrick Queen was the most recent guy to join that team, but so if anybody's going to call him out, that probably would have been warranted. But yeah, it does sound like it was Minkah Fitzpatrick all along.
Yeah.
Like I remember you and I.
Cam Sutton was another one they were potentially.
Yeah, possibly. Too. But you were bringing that up, like that quote up. I remember when the Chiefs beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
And people are like, who is he talking about? And I think it's pretty clear that it was Minkah. And we should always, just because someone says something in the media, as far as like a Pittsburgh Steeler, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to resonate with the front office. Like I think earlier this year, Deshaun Elliott said on the potential of signing Aaron Rodgers, like leave that old ass at the nursery home.
Yeah.
And in the end, they signed him, and now he's got to be awkward to be like, hey, just joking about that, man. So who's to say that maybe they were talking about Minkah Fitzpatrick, but in the end, you have to give up a little to get a lot. I just don't know if it's an even acquisition. I would rather have Minkah Fitzpatrick probably than Jalen Ramsey, but I'm not watching the All-22. If it's clear that he's not the same player that he used to be, and he's definitely letting, wide open wide receivers go down the field, which was the case with the Pittsburgh Steelers down the stretch there where they lost, I think it was 5 in a row. Yeah, then maybe they need to make a change. But a new place for Jalen Ramsey. I think he'll probably fit in with Mike Tomlin. And like I said, I don't know what to expect with the Steelers. As far as the news of this move going down, I have to give a lot of credit to one person. And that guy's going to be, I mentioned his name before, but I want to give credit to this guy on Twitter, Slick Rick Scoops. And this was a month ago, where he says the Steelers have inquired about both Jair Alexander and Jalen Ramsey. I'm expecting the Steelers to acquire one of them. Omar is cooking. And this guy has basically broken the George Pickens trade and other trades that have transpired this offseason. And I know that the NFL media is always going to give credit to the Adam Schefters or the Tom Pelisseros or the Ian Rappaports that get the scoop first. I don't know who this guy is, but it's clear he has some connections. And he was all over this when Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter were on the record going on the Pat McAfee show saying, I do not think Jalen Ramsey is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This guy had it before all of them. So I know it's kind of weird, and we don't know who this guy is. And there's a lot of aggregator sites out there on Twitter that you can't really buy into. But I'll give him props to Slick Rick Scoops.
You put your name in a hashtag, you're out. I'm out. Sorry. Done. Ricky's redemption arc. Sorry, dude. I don't care about your scoops that much to where I care about your redemption arc. These trades are going to go down anyway. If you had it first, fantastic. Like, what's the value in knowing that this was going to happen? I knew this would happen 2 months ago. So what? It happened now.
Yeah, I know, but all these guys pride themselves on knowing first or getting the story first that's given to them by the GM or the head coach or the player. And, I give a little credit to the little man because I want to say Tom Pelissero basically shitted on this guy a year ago during the Brandon Ayuk saga. And initially, this guy did report that Brandon Ayuk would be traded to the Steelers. He got that wrong, and he admits it. But I don't know, just, I'm kind of giving credit to one of these guys on Twitter that's trying to make a name for himself and stay anonymous weirdly. But yeah, this is a point where the big guys got it wrong and the small guy got it right.
Do we know this is a small guy or this is just someone like a former executive with a burner account?
It might be a former executive with a burner account, or it might be a former insider that, left the insider game and doesn't want to be a part of the whole politics of the situation that Schefter and, Rappaport play by giving Johnny Walker Blue to GMs or owners to get their scoops. I don't know. The bottom line is I'm giving this guy credit because I saw him tweet this out a month ago and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And he got it right. And all these guys kind of shit on, the little guys and they don't like Jordan Schultz, but I'm giving him credit. That's all.
Great.
Okay. So there you go. A little.
Such a hater.
Yeah, I know. You why? Come on, Steven. What did this guy do to you?
It's just the hashtag really threw me off.
Yeah.
Hashtag Ricky's redemption arc.
Yeah, he's just kind of being funny. So wait, after all that, the Giants don't score, and now it's 3-2 Diamondbacks?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
All right.
Tough.
This team, man. Speaking of baseball, the A's, they keep just becoming a joke. And I really don't know if I could blame them 100% for this one, but they had the biggest contract in Oakland A's history this offseason by giving Luis Severino a 3-year, $67 million contract. And it hasn't gone well. It hasn't gone well for the A's the majority of this season. And he was asked about, pitching in Sacramento and basically saying how he, can't perform very well. Do you have the actual quote, Steven? So I'm not just reading off the top of my head here.
Yeah, it's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I can kind of paraphrase, but he basically was asked why he pitches so much better on the road versus at home, because he does. It's like his split stats on the road prior to this game against the Yankees yesterday. He had like a 2.4 ERA on the road, and who cares about the wins, losses? He just pitched much better than he did at home. I think he has like a 7 ERA at home or even a 9 ERA at home, something crazy like that. And so, yeah, he was asked why he pitches so much better on the road than at home. And he says, well, on the road, we're playing in big league stadiums. And then he equated to playing at Sutter Health Park like it's spring training.
Yeah.
He did not like the clubhouse in left field. He doesn't like that during the day games, they have to stand out in the sun all day. They can't get any shade. He doesn't like the idea of the low attendance. He doesn't like the energy of the ballpark. And right now the A's have the lowest attendance in baseball. It's down to 9,000 now, along with the Tampa Bay Rays. Who would have thought at Major League Baseball, the two teams that you're forcing out of their cities, they're not getting good attendance records in the meantime. And yeah, from that point on, he has been rumored to be traded. The official wording from Bob Nightingale on USA Today is that they, quote unquote, can't wait to trade him.
Wow.
And yeah, can't wait. That was from Nightingale. And Severino's response, this was after he happened to have his worst outing on the road. This was in Yankee Stadium, or after his game in Yankee Stadium, as they dropped 2 of 3.
Reports out there that you could be traded by the deadline. And how do you feel about that? There were also reports that the A's were upset that you made comments about the home ballpark.
I mean, if they trade me or not, I'm gonna keep grinding, trying to be my best self, going out there. I can do nothing about it when they get mad or not. That's not. I just say what it is. I'm not gonna go out there. If you ask me how I feel pitching at home, I'm not gonna lie to you. Because at the end, you guys gonna figure out if it's a lie or not. So my job is here to try to pitch, and every time you ask me a question, be honest with you guys. So that's what I did. I was not trying to, hurt nobody's feelings about saying that. But I think I'm not the only one who feels the same way. But like I said, I will try my best to just concentrating on what I need to do and concentrating on getting better.
Okay, so he doesn't really say much besides kind of the cliche stuff. But I think the most telling thing he said at the end there was a lot of guys feel this way. They just don't speak about it.
Well, that in his body language when he said I wasn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings, like how do you feel about this, Steven? Because I have a kind of a twofold response to this.
By the way, Eugenio Suarez just hit a solo home run to give a little insurance to the Diamondbacks, so it's 4-2. Oh, the baseball gods do not like the Giants right now for whatever reason. What do I think? What do I think?
I picked him in the dong pool, but the D-backs already had their first home run. Shit.
I love the honesty. I love it. And if he's trying to get traded out of there, then good for him, because I think that any team could use starting pitching at the deadline. And even though it was the most expensive contract that the A's had ever paid to a single player in free agent history, it was just 3 years, $67 million. It's not like they broke the bank. He might be getting paid a lot compared to other pitchers, but I think some team willing to spend would be happy to take that on. But Severino, though, has had interesting public comments in the past where at the time, he just straight up said when he was on the Yankees that we only have 2 good hitters, Soto and Judge. So he's not afraid to speak his mind. I appreciate the honesty. I think that's where I'm going with this one.
I appreciate the honesty, but at the same time, when you're a free agent, you kind of got to do your homework and you got to know what you're getting into. And it's hard to do that when you have no idea, you have no reference of how the A's are going to be in Sacramento. So, yes, he wanted to take the money, and I'm sure the A's were the highest bidder, so that's why he went to that team. But in my opinion, not that I am pro anything that the A's are doing right now in Sacramento, but you can't blame anybody but yourself. At the end of the day, you signed the contract. Now, today I related it a little bit to Randy Moss going to the Raiders and him realizing that they play on a baseball diamond and him being like, the hell is this? We're playing on turf? Randy don't run on dirt. What the hell is this? And, he played in the Oakland Coliseum before, so he's not dumb. He's familiar with that stuff. He just didn't want to pay attention. But he got traded to the Raiders. That wasn't his choice. Luis Severino, kind of got to do your homework, man. And again, I know that it's tough because the A's never played in Sacramento before. But you should ask around. You should know the deal a little bit. But also, as much research as you could do, nothing's going to prepare you for the heat or the fans or just how bad the organization is run. At the same time, the A's can't be so butthurt when someone's so honest about what's going on right now, because this is a joke. The whole thing's a joke. And he's being blatantly honest, like, you basically summed it up, but him saying, we feel like we're playing in spring training all the time. And whenever we go on the road, it feels like we're actually at a ballpark. And, him speaking for the whole team, saying that I'm not the only one that feels this way. This goes back to you playing that clip of Dallas Braden on Jared Carrabis's podcast saying, I don't want to name any names and I can't say much. I work for the team, but I can surmise that some players are not happy about this. And Dallas, he's in a tough position where he works for the team. He was, there for the groundbreaking, if you want to call it. But I'm sure he feels like this is bullshit. And he even, I want to say the other day, was on Carrabis's podcast again, being like, people call me a sellout. But you know what? My dream was to work in Major League Baseball and be a broadcaster. So that makes me a sellout, then by all means, call me a sellout. I think that's fair. I think you're in a tough position when you work for the team, and I'm sure he loves the Oakland A's, but he wants to keep this job. So Dallas Braden aside, yeah, I think that Severino is partially to blame because he signed the contract. So, hey, buyer's remorse, man. It is what it is. At the same time, the A's can't trade away a guy because he's being blatantly honest about what's going on at the ballpark right now.
Just to take a look at his home versus road splits. At home, 6.79 ERA in 10 starts. He's 0-7. Has given up 43 earned runs, 7 home runs, struck out 45 and walked 20, whatever. But the opposing batting average is 300. Then his road splits, now he's up to a 3.23 earned run average, but he did give up 7 runs yesterday. 2-2 on the road in 8 starts, 39 hits, 17 runs, 4 home runs, 26 Ks to 14, but the opposing batting average is 219. So he does have a point in his struggles, but I also don't think he's going to sit there and say, you know what, I made a total mistake in signing the contract here. I didn't know what I was expecting. Like, that would make him look real bad.
But I think Roccanera was onto something here where he says Luis might be a genius and on his way out, where he's like, I just want to get the fuck out of here, so I'm going to be honest about the team right now, and hopefully they trade me.
Yeah. And
and also a good point here. Sorry, from Roccanera saying that maybe his agent didn't give him the dirt on those situation. Yeah, probably, but you can't go into a situation blind just because you want the money.
Or they were, sold on it too.
Yeah.
From what's it called? From Ye's staff. Like, what's he making right now? He is in the range. I'm trying to find his average. Severino.
Well, it's
he's making $22.3 million a year.
Yeah.
It's the same as Kevin Gausman. It's the same as Robbie Ray, Luis Castillo, Aaron Nola, some of the best in the game, actually. Yusei Kikuchi. I wonder if a team would be willing to take that contract on.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. They'd probably stick in I don't know if the A's would do this, but I think you'd stick in the American League because I don't know. His time with the Yankees and his time with the Mets was so. He was great with the Yankees for a moment. But I wonder. Anyway, brutal. But it just goes to show it's stupid that they moved to Sacramento in the first place.
Yep. And this weekend when they take on the Giants, all 3 games, on July 4th and July 5th and July 6th, all 7:05 starts.
Yeah.
And for me, I complained about this on the radio today, but 7:05 on a Sunday night. I know the baseball tonight, or Sunday night baseball, is on at 7:05 on the East Coast. But for me, I don't know, on Sunday nights, don't be watching baseball that late. Kind of want to watch a movie or a show. 7:05 start on a Sunday night for West Coast time. That's a little too late for me.
Yeah, July 4th is supposed to be you get up to watch the parade in the morning. Maybe you watch a little baseball in the afternoon, and then you go watch the fireworks at night. Or in your case, a hot dog eating competition in between that.
You're going to watch it too, Steven. Don't act like it's too good for you. Or you're too good for the hot dog eating contest.
Derek, I'm not too good for the hot dog. Just because I don't watch it doesn't mean I think I'm too good for it.
You're not going to watch this year when Joey Chestnut makes his redemption tour?
Not really. No.
Oh, come on.
I might turn it on.
See, stop lying to yourself. Real quick, Roccanera asked Steven, what do you think about the Sharks draft?
It seems great. I mean, I don't even know how to evaluate that. Michael Misa was expected to be their pick all along. He seemed very mature for an 18-year-old. It's just, I'm excited for them in 2027. That's the way I'd put it.
Yeah.
This season, I don't know, but the 2026, 2027 season, that's where things could get interesting.
Right. Real quick before we do Jackass of the Week and Pop Culture Catch Up, you wanted to mention Steven's left. Okay.
All right. The cat was meowing. Phoebe.
No, you're all good.
Phoebe has her litter box in here. It's like you're keeping the door shut on the bathroom and just not letting the owner in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's kind of cruel on your part. You want to say something quick about UFC over the weekend?
Oh yeah. Okay. So
now Steven's excited about the podcast.
Just to give you some backstory here. So Paddy Pimblett is this English guy. He's he's from Liverpool, a Scouser, and he has this funny accent. He's hilarious. He's really quick-witted. He's smart. He was up and coming from I forgot what they were called over there in Ireland, the cage fighting championship or something. But he was like a champion out there. He's got this hair. He was a big deal. Barstool signed him to a contract. And then he kind of fell off and has been on a hashtag Patty Redemption tour or Patty Redemption arc. And he's been fighting really well. But on the other side is this dude, Ilya Topuria, who is still the champion. He's knocked out 3 different fan favorites, one being Alex Volkanovski, and most recently Charles Oliveira, and another being Max Holloway. No one knocks down Max Holloway. Topuria has knockout power, and he knocked out Oliveira this weekend, right? And in the octagon, they used to have this. This is like NFL player for players trades, Derek. They used to have this all the time, and they've kind of gone away from it, where other fighters come in and call out the winners so that they could kind of set the stage for the next fight, and it would be the big money fight or whatever. And this was Paddy Pimblett going onto the stage. Just see if you can listen to what Topuria said, because this was
Joe Rogan right in the middle of it being like, yeah, come on, guys, give me this. Yeah.
They don't like each other. They haven't since
oh, really, Steven? That's pretty clear.
They haven't since the days of COVID, where Paddy was I think one time they were in this pre-fight meeting and they ran into each other at a press conference. I think because he's Ilya Topuria is from Georgia, the Republic of Georgia. Mm-hmm. And I think Paddy Pimblett said something that was kind of, I don't want to say racist, but it was like xenophobic. It was, I forgot the term was, but it was something against Georgian people. And it was like something political, something that was totally out of bounds. And Topuria like threw a bottle of hand sanitizer at him, because this was during the post-COVID days where there was hand sanitizer all around. Then Paddy started calling him hand sanitizer boy. And now the thing is though, like Paddy's nowhere near his level, and he's not going to fight Topuria. Topuria's got a lot. Topuria's just waiting for contenders, and Pimblett's got a long way to go. And to that point, you mentioned Joe Rogan. Well, normally during those championship fights, Dana White's up there, right? He's always up there ready to give the belt. I don't know why he wasn't there, but he didn't seem to like this little call out, and this made me laugh.
He called in Paddy Pimblett and brought him into the cage, and they had to face off. Obviously, they've got a long history together. I know there's a lot of options on the table for Ilya, but when he shows that type of interest in the fight, does that make you want to make it?
Well, I don't know who the hell let him in there. That should have never happened. Let's start there. I was already back in my room, or that would have never happened. But
it's just funny, man. It's great.
Just people trash talking. No, it's fun. I don't know if I'll ever get into UFC or MMA or any of that stuff, but I do get it. I do see the appeal.
UFC is at a weird crossroads right now.
Yeah,
it is. It's for the most part, like those cards that you'd paid. I mean, at first when I was getting into it, it was like $70. Now it's up to $80 per pay-per-view. At first they were always entertaining, like up and down the main fights. But lately there have been a lot of boring ones. Tonight or Saturday nights was good, but yeah, for the most part, they've been pretty boring. And I think they're really struggling right now to find like a face of the UFC. Really, they had one, and now they've kind of dropped off. I guess they got a new one, Islam Makhachev, who's really, really, really good fighter, but I don't think he's like renowned as a superstar. So yeah, UFC's at a weird time right now.
Real quick, I just saw this. Ernie 2 brought it up. You guys see Geno Smith talking back to a fan? You see this video, Steven?
Yeah.
You want to play it real quick? Because I don't know the content. What's up?
Can't. The person deleted it because Geno Smith called him out.
No, but your good old friend Dov Kleiman, I think, has the video.
Oh, I blocked Dov a while back.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, well, Geno's reaction, he responded to ML Football. Having fun with the game I love, but man, the need for clicks and negativity takes away from the great event that happened this past weekend. All the kids had fun and competed. All around great event. This is how we talk in Dade County. I'm sorry you might not understand. Carry on.
No, I like that. But it just shows the fiery nature of Geno Smith, where, he's probably going to talk that shit on the field. And I don't know the context of it, but I guess there was like a flag football or a community thing, and some kid or somebody was talking shit to Geno, and he wasn't going to back down from it. So that's what you want to see in a leader of your team, in a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, real quick on Jackass of the Week. Do you have anybody, Steven?
I mean, I got one. It feels almost too obvious because it's a little late, but I wanted to wait till we did the Jackass of the Week. But it's pretty clearly, I think it's a unanimous Jackass of the Week. But the Chicago White Sox fan who's been banned from every ballpark in America for calling out Ketel Marte and saying to send a message to your mom who tragically died in a car accident in 2017. I mean, I was trying to think of any others going into this show, and I can't think of any more that's a bigger jackass than that. So.
Yeah, I would say that is the most appropriate because, to remind somebody, I mean, his mother died in 2017, so not that long ago, and he was in visible tears over what that fan said to him. And usually, fans or players are focused, athletes are focused, they block out all the crowd noise. But when you're talking about somebody's mom, that's just deplorable in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's appropriate for Jackass of the Week. Honorable mentions. I brought this up in a previous podcast, but Mike Florio, wanting to get credit for the NFL collusion story. I don't mind Pablo Torre going on a shit ton of podcasts and talking about it and wanting people to care more about it. But Mike Florio, wanting credit for it and wanting, calling out Tom Pelissero or Ian Rappaport or Schefter, all these guys, because they don't care about the issue. You can't have it both ways where you want to be a real journalist and put out the story and at the same time be like, how come no one else cares about my story? Pablo Torre's taking the high road. Mike Florio is acting like the usual jackass that I think he is.
Almost like Ricky Scoops, huh?
No, Ricky Scoops was not getting any credit for it.
Oh, right.
You think there's a similarity here?
I mean, I think it's pretty hypocritical for you to, heap praise on some guy who's calling for his own redemption arc as a Scoops guy, and then you say the Jackass of the Week is a guy who's trying to get credit for this scoop. It's a pretty big one that the NFL's not talking about.
They're probably not going to talk about it. That's
I was calling him out.
I know, but what does Florio expect? Simultaneously, he's like, "Ooh, I gotta get my opinion on the Jalen Ramsey trade." What'd you expect? These guys are shills for the league. I saw Tom Pelissero answer every question that Rich Eisen was throwing to him. He has the opinion that just because this arbiter came out with this proof, he believes that it doesn't really prove collusion. Now, I think that's a little ridiculous, but he does describe that Mike Florio has been calling him nonstop since the story came out and basically being like, how come you didn't report on this? And he's like, dude, I got my own things. I report contracts. That's my form of journalism. And you may not think it's journalism. So Mike Florio, by all means, you're doing real work here. Where Ricky Scoops, he's a lowly Twitter guy that got one right over Schefter and Rappaport, and I'm just giving him his due. Florio, everybody knows who he is, and he's just please praise me for this story. And Pablo Torre's I just reported on a story, and I don't understand why people don't care as much. That's why I respect Pablo. I just can't respect Florio in this situation.
I hope this Ricky Scoops guy is some disgraced executive who got ran out because he was a total dick. That'd be hilarious.
That could be the case.
If he's just some random teenager, then congrats.
Also, a minor Jackass of the Week, too. Who was the Utah Jazz's first-round pick? Alex Bailey?
Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey. We're getting a lot of younger kids that don't want to go to certain teams. And this is not just a recent thing. This is the likes of Eli Manning or John Elway who, had their daddies help them in situations where they didn't want to go to these teams. John Elway didn't want to go to the Baltimore Colts. Eli Manning didn't want to go to the San Diego Chargers. And now Ace Bailey did not want to go to the Utah Jazz, or the kid that was drafted by the Raptors, and he's visibly showing his disdain for being drafted by this team, saying out loud, fuck. guys, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I understand like it may not be the rosiest of situations, but just think of the situation as a privilege. Don't act like I can't believe I'm going to this team. And it might be a shitty situation. There's always free agency. Same thing for those guys I just mentioned, Eli Manning and John Elway. I thought they acted like spoiled kids when they didn't want to go to the teams that they were set up to go to, or they were drafted by. So I would just tell, like, it's happening more and more. We hear these stories about Caleb Williams. I'm going to go to the Chicago Bears. There's all these Gen Z kids and also kids back in the day. Just be happy that you got a job in professional sports. That's all I could say.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, he showed up.
He showed up. At the end of the day, he showed up. But there was a whole story about his agent telling the Utah Jazz, don't draft him. He's not showing up. In the end, he did. But we're just hearing more and more of those stories where I think like basketball players and football players are like, I don't want to go to that franchise. Well, buddy, this is the deal. This is the draft. It's not free agency. This is a draft. Like, think of like a real draft in society where kids are forced to go to war. You're getting forced to go to a team and make millions of dollars. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, you are putting unnecessary pressure on yourself too.
Yes.
Like NBA social media is different than other social media accounts. They don't forget. As soon as you have one bad game, as soon as you do something that really doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, people are going to come after you. You remember that time when he was pissed about the Jazz getting drafted by the Jazz? I'm sure the Jazz are pissed drafting him. You know, now the shoe's on the other foot.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Exactly. Okay, real quick pop culture catch up. You saw Shane Gillis on Saturday, right?
Correct.
How was it?
It's awesome. He brought out the other dude from Tires, and he also brought out Andrew Santino, Cheeto Santino. So that was a good surprise to open up for him. He's just so funny, man.
Yeah.
I've never seen a comedian in an arena before. He's a rock star. Like, there's no other way to put it. He's an absolute rock star in this day and age. It was awesome. And so I saw that Friday night, went to go watch F1 the movie.
I did as well. Saw with my buddy on Saturday night. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I think Brad Pitt's laugh is hilarious because he's never really had to laugh before.
Yeah.
And just listening to him try to laugh forcefully, it's probably the worst acting I've ever seen him do. But
yeah, the forced laughter was awkward. I would even say there was a scene. Yeah, there was a scene where Javier Bardem is so pissed off that they have been basically just
Don't ruin anything. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm not ruining anything, but there's a scene where they add something to the car and they're disqualified from the race. And he goes into a rage for like 5 seconds, being like, "This is bullshit. I cannot believe you're doing this to us. This is espionage. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Like, that just made me laugh in the theater with my buddy, where I was like, that was insane. He went from unhinged for 5 seconds, then be like, "Oh, please don't disqualify us."
Well, that's because it was meant to be a funny scene. Did no one else laugh? Everyone laughed in the theater when he did that.
We were in a big theater at the Grand Lake Theater, the big room. Me and my buddy were the only people laughing during that scene.
Yeah. You know, Ernie, you're right. It was kind of a spoiler alert. It was a pretty big deal.
Not really.
Kinda.
Not really.
Yeah, it was.
Did I give away the ending of the movie?
Gave away a pretty big part of it.
It's not that big of a deal.
Well, it has to do with it. Yeah.
Stop that. It's not relevant to the plot whatsoever.
Really loved it. Saw How to Train Your Dragon in the theater a little while back.
The live action one?
Loved that. Brendan Fraser, still talking in Scottish. Hiccup, you're not really my son. You don't chase dragons.
You mean Gerard Butler?
What did I say?
Brendan Fraser.
Same thing.
Stop. No, it's not. But yeah, no, the F1 movie, I basically would say it's a good popcorn movie. And you know F1 way more than me. So the fact that he's racing against Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, like that's pretty fun. You don't actually see their faces, I don't think. I could be wrong about that, Steven. You would know better than me.
No, you see their face. It's a F1 propaganda movie. It's a full-on F1 propaganda movie. That's all it is.
It's basically racing. It's the racing version of Top Gun. And it's the same director of the newest Top Gun. There's been a lot of racing movies over the years, like what was the one? Oh, Rush with Chris Evans. Was that his name? Who's Thor?
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, Chris
Brendan
Hemsworth.
Fraser.
Thank you. This was pretty cool though. Like you get to see the view of the car and inside the car. So that was well done. But am I going to remember it for years to come? Probably not. But it was a solid movie to enjoy in the theaters.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I enjoyed that. I am catching up on The Bear too.
I am as well. I didn't like that. Sorry, go ahead.
Ernie 2's on episode 4 of the new season.
I'm on episode 3, and I got Hulu. My little brother got rid of his Hulu, so I got Hulu, and not loving that you have to bundle everything together now. You have to get Disney Plus, and you have to get ESPN Plus, but at least I don't have to bother you about that anymore, Steven. Or Ernie 1 by that matter. But yeah, now I'll just watch reruns of The Simpsons on Disney Plus, and I'm gonna watch the rest of The Bear. So far, so good.
Yeah. Then other stuff. Aesop Rock came out with a new album.
Did he? Okay, I'll check that out.
He's still the same Aesop Rock. Just his flows are nuts. I think he did an entire song about when we were kings, that Muhammad Ali and George Foreman documentary.
Yeah.
About the Rumble in the Jungle. Yeah, he did a whole song about it. It's crazy. Then who else? Oh, we just had Glastonbury this weekend. And for one, there was Nile Rodgers performing with Chic, and they sung La Freak. Ah, freak out.
Ooh.
And he had all the security team doing the dance moves to it. And it's clear they were told right beforehand what they had to do. And all of them looked like they were super embarrassed and they were kind of blushing. Yeah, I was into that. Then Louis Capaldi. Oh, just a performance that's going to make you cry.
Speaking of crying, rest in peace to Dave Parker. Passed away yesterday. Former Oakland A, got the final out of the 1989 World Series and spent most of his career with the Pirates, if I'm not mistaken. Steven, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, but rest in peace to Dave Parker, who passed away yesterday. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for tonight. I don't know when we will. I don't know when we will be back, because I don't want to keep coming on here and setting a date and being like, the next time we'll see if Jonathan Kuminga gets traded or signed. Let's just say, let's plan on being back on Sunday, and if the Jonathan Kuminga news happens before then, we'll see you before then. But yeah, we are just not going to plan the next show because we don't know when that news is going to break, and let's just wait for that to happen, and then we'll do a show on July 6th, this Sunday after 4th of July, and we'll see if Joey Chestnut regains the mustard belt, which he probably will. I'm putting it over under 80.5 hot dogs. See if we can get that. All right, everybody. Thanks everybody in the chat as always. To Rock a New Era, to AJ Cruz, to showed up an hour late, but we always enjoy AJ Cruz coming through. Ernie 1, my buddy Andy Young, Otis Bird is the word. Tacky for a little bit of time, and we a little bit of Pat H today. Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't.
No Pat H.
No Pat H. All right, everybody. We'll see what happens with John the Kuminga. Until then, Steven, say what you always say.
It's just our opinion, man.